let's start with a date, November 18th, 2024. For millions of people across India, this wasn't just another day. It was the day their plans, their travel, their lives just came to a screeching halt. Now, here's a number for you, 8.5%. What's that? Well, that was the on-time performance for India's biggest airline, IndiGo. Now keep in mind, this is a company that usually boasts an 85 to 90% success rate. So yeah, this wasn't just a bad week. This was a complete and utter collapse. And if that doesn't paint a picture, how about this one? 1,100. That's how many flights they canceled. Not in a month, but in just 5 days. We're not talking about a simple disruption here. This was a nationwide shutdown. So, okay, we've got a date, we've got some shocking numbers. These are the symptoms, right? But what was the disease? Today, we are digging into the 2024 IndiGo meltdown. We're gonna look at how this absolute giant of the skies was brought to its knees. And get this, it wasn't a storm, it wasn't a strike, it was a new rule about sleep. All right, first things first. To really get why this was such a huge deal, you have to understand just how massive IndiGo is. I mean, for a lot of people in India, flying with them wasn't just one of many options, it was pretty much the only option. And I'm not exaggerating, just look at this. A single airline controlling over 60% of all domestic flights. Think about that for a second. That's why a problem at IndiGo wasn't just their problem. It instantly became a crisis for the entire country. Their network wasn't just a piece of the puzzle, it was the puzzle. So what happened? What was the one thing that triggered this whole mess? Well, it all comes down to a single, critical piece of regulation. A rule change that was actually designed to make flying safer. But instead, it accidentally exposed a fatal flaw in IndiGo's entire business model. Okay, you're gonna hear this acronym a lot, so let's get it out of the way. FDTL. It stands for Flight Duty Time Limitation. Basically, these are the super strict, non-negotiable rules from the DGCA, that's India's aviation authority, that say how long a pilot can work. And the whole point? To stop pilots from getting exhausted, because, a tired pilot is a huge safety risk. So keep that in mind. This all started with safety. And this right here is the rule that changed everything. Under the old system, a pilot could do up to 6 night landings a week. We're talking those late flights between midnight and 6 a.m. The new rule? It took that number and slashed it all the way down to just 2. From 6 to 2. That's a massive cut, a 66% reduction, basically overnight. So you're probably thinking, okay, but why did this one rule wreck IndiGo so badly? Well, it's because their entire, incredibly successful business model was built like a house of cards on 3 things. High fleet utilization, which means they keep their planes in the air constantly, especially those red-eye flights. And lean crew rostering. That's a fancy way of saying they had the bare minimum number of pilots needed to operate. So when that 2 landing rule hit, their whole system just shattered. Suddenly, to fly the same number of night flights, they needed way more pilots. And they just didn't have them. Simple as that. Now, this is where the story shifts from a corporate headache to a full-blown human crisis. Because the consequences of this weren't just lines on a spreadsheet in a boardroom. They were felt by real people, stranded in chaotic, crowded airports all over the country. And the first thing people felt was in their wallets. The impact on prices was just brutal. Let's take a common flight, say Delhi to Mumbai. Normally, that's about 5,000 rupees. During the crisis, it shot up to 55,000 rupees. That's more than 10 times the price. With all those IndiGo seats just gone, other airlines jacked up their prices to match the insane demand. It wasn't about finding a flight anymore. It felt like a hostage negotiation. But honestly, the money was only part of it. The real cost was human. We're talking about people missing life or death medical appointments. Imagine families traveling for a wedding, only to get separated, with half the family missing the ceremony entirely. And on top of all that, you couldn't get anyone on the phone. Customer service was completely overwhelmed, ground staff had no answers. It was just thousands of people left completely stranded and in the dark. So, the inevitable question, who's to blame for all this? As you can imagine, the aftermath was a firestorm of finger-pointing, and it kicked off a very long, very painful road to recovery. Well, the government regulator, the DGCA, didn't mince words. Their official report pointed a finger directly at IndiGo for a profound lack of contingency planning. I mean, their argument was pretty straightforward. The airline knew this rule was coming for 2 years. So in their view, the problem wasn't the safety rule. It was the airline's complete failure to get ready for it. And if you thought that was harsh, the pilots' own federation went even further. They called out what they termed an unorthodox lean manpower strategy. They basically accused management of playing a dangerous game for years, prioritizing profits by intentionally keeping pilot numbers as low as legally possible, pretty much just gambling that a rule like this would never actually come into effect. And you can't just fix a problem like this overnight. It wasn't a quick fix at all. The path to recovery was a long one. It meant they had to start by slashing their schedule, permanently canceling flights, and then going on this insane aggressive hiring spree for new pilots. But even doing all that, the airline itself said it wouldn't be back to normal until February 2026, a full 2-year recovery, for a crisis that, ironically, was 2 years in the making. When you look back, the whole IndiGo meltdown is really a cautionary tale, right? It shows you the razor-thin edge these low-cost airlines operate on, and it leaves us with a really important question about the way we fly today. In this constant race for efficiency, for cheaper and cheaper tickets, when a system built on being lean finally breaks, who is it that really ends up paying the price?
Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, and for more content, don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell icon.